Hello and welcome to Organic Edible Garden. We're coming up to a full moon phase, which is a great time to put in your root crops. And today we're going to sow our onions and our carrots. These are long-term root crops, unlike things we planted about 2 months ago, which are our fennel and our daikon and our beetroot. And also today, we're going to continue to hill up our potatoes, and we're going to encourage our Kumara tubers to give us slips to be planted next month. One of the most important things when growing root crops is getting the soil right. We had a short-term salad crop in here, so all I've added is a bit of compost to this bed. We don't want to add too much nitrogen because it'll encourage leaf growth, which is not what we want. And too much potassium encourages it to flower. So what we want really is phosphorus in this bed. So we're going to add some volcanic rock and some seaweed. These are really balanced and they're not high in any particular mineral. Also important with your soil is something that's free draining, well dug over, and is friable. So when we plant the carrots and the roots go down, they're not going to hit anything which can cause them to fork. Now if you've got clay soils or really stony soils, adding good organic compost to it is the answer. There's a huge variety of carrots you can plant. I plant this old market garden variety called Kumara because it does really well in our area. And then there's the onions. You can plant day-long onions like the red and the white, especially the Spanish types do well in summer. But these are sort of like a little baby purple onion, which I use most in my salads. But the important thing about any of your seeds is, if you can, take them home, put them in the fridge for 2 weeks before sowing. This will help them germinate better and you get a better crop. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to make 3 long lines in the bed. They don't have to be deep. The light actually helps the carrot seeds germinate. We're also going to plant onions between the carrots because they're good companion plants and the smell of the onions will keep carrot fly away. So there'll be 2 rows of carrots, one on either side, and the onions will be in the middle. I'm going to sow these carrot seeds pretty thick and wide. Carrot seeds don't have the greatest germination rate and I can always pull them out and thin them if I need it. And next we're going to put our onions down the centre. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to lightly cover it over and we're going to pat it down. It seems to do better when you do this. We can put our multi-mineral fertiliser on now. And the next 2 things to remember are, first of all, keeping the weeds out. These guys don't germinate quickly, and it's really important to keep the weeds out so they can actually grow strong. The second thing is keeping even moisture in the soil. If you're going to get really hot sunny days and then really wet conditions, it's not great. Now you can do this with things like mulching on top. Things like cardboard or even newspaper laying on top of the soil with bricks on it will really help that for the first week or 10 days. In today's case, I'm going to use old bath towels. They're great, I can lay them on the surface, the rain will still go through, it'll keep the weeds at bay and the moisture in the soil. And the last thing we're going to do, we're just going to wet the towels. This will keep the moisture in them and stop them flying away. But at the same time, any heavy rain is not going to do damage to the soil and wash the seeds away. And after about 10 days to 2 weeks, I can take the towels off and see how they're germinated. Wow, these potatoes have really rocketed off over the last couple of days. And the agria, which was so small before, have now caught up with the Cliff's kidney. I've been hilling them up every couple of days, but I've run out of soil in the bed now, so I'm going to add some of the old spent compost to it and hill it around. Because the more you can hill it around the plants, the more tubers you're going to get. Pushing over the plants does no damage to them. They'll just come through the soil and be stronger than ever. And if you're growing them in a pot or a tub like this, they seem to grow quicker, so keep topping them up just so the leaves are above the soil level. And if it looks like you're burying the leaves, don't worry, they'll just come up through the soil in a couple of days. Unlike our potatoes, our kumara is a subtropical crop, and we don't really want to put these in early. Putting kumara in things like wet and cold conditions, they just sulk in the soil. But if we wait and do it later in the season, they thrive and they take off in those warmer conditions. Now, kumaras like this that are now sprouting are great to take slips from. So I've got a few of these. All you need is a container like this, fill it up with a bit of good free draining compost, and we'll put the slips in. Then we place our kumara in. It doesn't matter which way they go because always the slips will go to the light. And from one of these kumaras, over a couple of weeks, we'll get about 25 to 30 slips. The next thing we do is we just cover it with a bit more soil. Now the container needs a warm, sunny position. We'll give it a good water, but if you can keep it out of the rain in a conservatory or somewhere where it gets full sun, within a week or 10 days, the slips will come through. Now when they come through, you hang onto the soil and you can just pull them off and they'll come off easily with the roots. From then they can be planted straight into the garden.